All right, we are on the air
All
with,
right.
yeah, What's the Point? Our second show with Michael Juiliano, aka Hot Dog Mike from Little Rock, Arkansas, in the bottom left-hand square.
Good evening.
Hello. And in the middle to block is John Self, our guest last time.
Hello.
Our 100 miler. Do you have, by the way, do you have a sticker on the back of your car that says 100 miles or anything? Or
I've got a sticker that my kids got, but I haven't put it on the car yet.
okay. Well, you should
Put it
do
on the
that.
kitty car.
And
I got enough of them.
yeah. All right. Well, so here we are.
I want one. Anyway,
Hot
Good
Dog
evening.
Mike. So we what's the point is my brainchild to basically talk with people like you, people like John, people that I call artists who do things that really matter and are interesting and get noticed by other people, and they have a deep sense of purpose and meaning. And so I think one of the obvious questions that comes to mind when somebody probably comes up to you and they say, "Hey, Hot Dog Mike," is a question that you've probably answered at least 1,000 times, and that's, why hot dogs?
because that's my name. No, I'm not Hamburger Mike. No, and that's actually what I say usually.
Great.
Everybody loves hot dogs. You know, it's one of those things that I think it holds a bit of nostalgia for everybody, and I just thought it would be a really great way to connect with everybody, and it's certainly proven so.
Well, what do you mean connect? Because that's a real interesting point. So why is that important? And how do you do it through a mechanism like a hot dog, a piece of some food?
Some processed food. You know, for me, I love the comments people make in line too about how bad they are, and I'm like, but you're in line, enjoy it. So anyway, I don't get it, but I just think it's one of those things that it's a simple thing. It really, it's like the ultimate peacemaker. It doesn't have any boundaries. A hot dog is so simple. Everyone's eaten at least one in their life for the most part. Some people live off them. And I think anywhere I've gone with it, sort of to present my food to others, it's been embraced, and it's just been something that everyone can enjoy. Kids, any demographic, any type of person. I've been to some of the most awesome places with this cart that I would have never have imagined, you know, with a hot dog stand, going to the type of party or serving the types of people that I've served. But it just seems to be something that everyone loves.
Okay, but let me give you obviously not everyone knows who you are, particularly people that will see this later and have not met you or don't know anything about you. Let's get some background here, because you have not always been a hot dog
Slinger.
Slinger is the
a
proper
swinger.
term. Sling.
Slinger.
Oh,
Hot dog
slinger.
slinger.
Slinger. I thought swinger.
Good
So-
medical term there, John. You're correct. That's good stuff. That's what it
So,
means.
but in all seriousness, you didn't. When did you didn't start this that long ago? You were in the hospitality business. That's how I met you.
So
And we've opened a couple of hotels together, or reopened one of them, and you also have been a professional photographer, and I guess still are probably to some degree a professional photographer, and a very good one, and a very good hotelier. So why the change to hot dogs? What was the inspiration? Why did you do that all of a sudden?
It's as simple as this. I always thought it would be fun, and when my contract was nearing the end at the hotel, I thought, what am I going to do next? Kind of like that question you ask, and literally, it's just something that I always thought would be a blast, and it's sort of a retro thing for me and a nostalgia thing for me. You know, I remember going to the hot dog guy with my grandfather every weekend, and I looked forward to it. And as a kid, I continued to do it with him until like 16, I think. So it was something I really looked forward to, and I never really knew the guy. So when I did it, I thought, well, why not take something as simple as the hot dog stand that most people where I'm from on the East Coast know about. I think in Little Rock it wasn't that well known yet, which was another sort of challenge that I had. But, you know, I just want to take something that's been done before and sort of reinvent it, you know, and make it something that I don't think anyone's ever seen.
Like a fedora in Little Rock.
Maybe. There's quite a few of them now, but yeah, maybe.
Well, yeah, this idea of delivering the unexpected, I think, is actually quite key to being successful in anything that you do, whether it's at work or at home or personal endeavors, running 100 miles, whatever the case is. It's really neat to see when a person is inspired enough to do something and to put forth enough effort and slog through the downside. You know, there's always a downside to everything that you do, and to get through that to actually achieve something that's meaningful and then becomes unexpected because everybody else is going, really? Hot dogs?
Yeah, or what is it? You know, I get asked that a lot. What is it? I'm like, I don't know. Just have a lot of fun with it, and you know.
Right. Well, so a lot of us aspire to do things that are fun, and we'd love to do things that are fun and just kind of, you know, do them for a living. But there's that scary part, like I'm guessing.
Like, how do you go from a 15-year hotel career,
right,
to opening a hot dog cart and not worry?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I was making a very good living, and it was a risk, which I've learned I enjoy. I think that there's a part of that in me. I've reinvented myself quite a few times, even before I joined you know, hospitality and started a hotel career. I've always dabbled in jobs, and the one thing I can say is, and I've always taken this with me, no matter what I've done, I've always given it everything. So I will, if I decide to sweep floors next, I'll be the best floor sweeper I can be. So I think that ties into, you know, sort of a motivation and a drive that I have to just do things a little bit differently and draw attention to it. Mm-hmm. And if that means you become technically better, or you just do it with a little bit more passion and a little bit more flavor than some other people do, I think that can certainly lend an eye to your marketing, you know, and what people see in you.
Well, what is it that you think you have? What do you possess that another person that may have the same sort of dream or idea, but they never execute? What is it that allows you to execute versus someone else?
Well, I think that the one thing we all have is ourselves, and I don't think anyone else could do it this way. I think I could probably sit there just like you had done in hotels, or John has done with running. You can inspire others, and you can share what caused you to do it. But I think it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what it is, other than our desire to do it this way. And I think a lot of people fail with that idea that I'm going to be just like him, and if I listen to him and I'm so inspired by him and I follow him, you know, there's only one usually. I want more people to do exactly what they want to do, not necessarily what I've done. And I'd love to help others do exactly what they want to do. You know, plug in what I do into anything, or plug in what you do into anything. I think the palette's there as long as the personality's behind it. You know, the drive.
Well, right, and so it's the drive, because at some point we all have dreams, we all have ideas, we all have goals, things we want to do, whether it be for fun or for some other reason. But there's always there seems to always be, you know, obstacles, bumps, things that keep us from actually executing. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, it's probably fear of the unknown, and you know, then there's all the excuses that we talked about with John last time. Yeah. So, at what point, or do you remember at what point that you went, I'm going to do this, and I'm taking the step right now?
You know, I was inspired by what John said. I felt perhaps that's why a friendship's developed through the three of us, in the fact that I think we all share that idea of you can't make excuses. And once I say I'm going to do something, kind of like I said earlier, I'm in. And if for some reason I say I'm not, then you don't have me. So my point to move forward was I'm leaving the hotel. I've decided I want to open a hot dog stand, and wait till you see what I do with this this time next year. I mean, I knew that I was gonna jump in over my head, and just have a blast trying to make something of this, and that pushed me.
Weren't you concerned that people would think that you were nuts?
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part about it.
They did, and they still do.
Well, because you're leaping from what most people would believe is safe harbor.
Yep.
A career, photography. All the things that people can go, hey, that he's very successful at that. Why would you depart from that to go off on this seemingly way off course, adrift kind of a place, a hot dog cart?
Yeah.
I knowing you, of course, I have a little bit of an advantage over most people. I think that the secret sauce is that it had nothing to do with the hot dog stand.
I don't think it does.
It had to do with creating your own path and your own legacy and story without somebody else painting the numbers in, whether it be a career in hotels or working for somebody else, or maybe even the photography. Although the photography, I think, was really helpful to you probably, right? I mean, it must have been a first step to kind of get where you're going now.
There were quite a few steps, I think,
Sorry.
That's okay. I
Well,
think
John.
in looking to, he can join us. I think in looking towards what, I do a lot of inside sort of searching, and I spend a lot of time alone, and I go in a lot, and the thing that I like most about this is, and what I've sort of taken from this, if I were to write this story someday, is this job, which is what it is, has allowed me to take everything I enjoy doing and put it into this. I love marketing. I love advertising. I love design. I love art. I love being social. I love being out in the public. I love speaking. I love using my gifts and talents to help others. And this hot dog cart, unbelievably enough, has done that and has allowed me to fit everything I've enjoyed doing in my life up to this point into it. And I think because of the so far offedness of it, which isn't a word, but I think it helps explain, because it's so way out.
It's a word now.
Yeah, because it's so way out, it almost can fit anything I want to fit into it. It doesn't have a boundary. Nobody's saying you can't do that at a hot dog cart.
Yeah.
And I've been allowed to do everything I've imagined, and it's so much fun.
What is so inspiring to me is that it is a very clear demonstration of if you're committed to something and you really believe in it and you're very passionate about it, even though a lot of people might think you're nuts in their definition of what nuts is, it really is a shining example of how the only person holding you back in doing anything that you really want to do is you.
Mm-hmm. I've had to do a lot of explaining, and I've lost relationships over it, and there's things that I've had to over-explain just to sort of feel like I was selling it properly. But in the end, you're right. I didn't allow any of those people to sort of stop me. I didn't allow there's a lot of restrictions as far as why you can't do a hot dog cart here. There's a lot of things like heat and weather and all these excuses that everyone up to me that I've come in contact with, and since I've opened, people have tried and come to me and said, "Man, I don't know how you do it. You want to buy my cart?" You can't. I don't let like John had said before and you had said before. I don't let it stop me. It feeds me to make me want to do it. And if somebody says I can't, that's my number one sort of push to make sure I do it.
Yeah,
I like the challenge.
I think for most artists, most people who fall into this category, it's exactly the same thing. You tell them they can't do something, and that's just a clear signal to, well, all right then, I better go do that then.
We could get my mom in on this chat, and she'd tell you, yes, that's true. If you say I can, I'll do it.
Right.
Is that kind of a screw you factor?
I think any artist has a little bit of that in them, don't they? Like they're out to do something.
Yeah.
They're out to show themselves, you know.
Yeah. I think most people do have some of that in them somewhere. A lot of them just don't realize where it's buried, but it's there.
Or how to use it properly and not just take everything.
Right. Obviously, you know, there are ideas that are, you know, maybe not worth chasing, and that's the other cool part.
I have about a whole book full of those.
Right. So you've been able, well, because it takes some careful, you know, I mean, there are some real crazy ideas that would be you know, maybe not be real smart to pursue, and to know which ones are the ones that you can execute and the ones that you can't. That obviously is also a talent and part of the evaluation.
You know, Michael, you and I have talked about remarkability and being remarkable, and you know, that kind of stuff sticks with me. I you know, if you're going to be a hot dog guy or you're going to be a janitor, you know, what can you do to make what you do remarkable, so that when somebody walks away from you, they're going to share your story almost immediately with the first person they see. And from day one of opening the stand, which it is, if nobody watching this probably even really knows what it is, it's a little hot dog cart like you'd see in New York City that I tow behind my car, and I float around to different locations every day and tell people where I'm at. And because of the restrictiveness of the laws in our city of Little Rock, I've really had to force myself to grow a tribe of people who want to come and find me versus being out in the open and just waiting for hundreds of people to walk by. There's no real area for that in this town. So yes, had to get them to come to me.
Well, and what is remarkable to me about your marketing program and what you've also shown, which is this is something I try to teach about in our hotel and in other hotels that I've helped open, and I teach in marketing to students and so on, is there is nothing more critical in marketing than the content that you deliver. Mm-hmm. And I don't care the rest. Marketing is everything you do. It's not an advertisement, you know, or a logo or some cool.
It's not about you.
Picture. It is what you do first and foremost, and the connections that you make and the emotions that you that you exude from people. That's what marketing is. And what you've done so beautifully is that your content, you delivering and how you deliver the hot dog, created a fan base and, like you said, a tribe. And so you have this loyal following now of people. I remember when you first started, and I went to go see you at around the corner from my house at the car wash. And, you know, there were hardly any people that came. There were a few. It was kind of cool. And I remember you ran out of Cokes or something, and I went over to the Sam's Club or whatever it is, and I you know, because you were all by yourself, and you're going, well, I don't have any way to get over there. Can you go over there and get some Cokes?
And you know what, Michael? I still do that, and people get a kick out of that. You know, I've gone on social media and said, hey, I'm out of sauerkraut. I'm sorry I can't serve you unless somebody brings me some. And somebody will show up with 5 bottles. Yeah. I'll give them lunch, and it's just such a fun, you know, interaction. It's
all right, but today it's reversed. Today, people book you.
Yeah.
Businesses book you
but
to draw crowds, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, you want 500 people or 1,000 people to show up at your business on a Saturday? Get Hot Dog Mike to come and set up shop, and you got a guaranteed stream of people there. So it just goes to show you that the work of creating this group of people that have given you the permission to reach out to them and to basically talk to them wherever and whenever you want. Mm-hmm. So, and now, of course, letting a little cat out of the bag, but not really, you are going to parlay that into a location-based business. Mm-hmm. You're gonna set up shop in a store.
I'm gonna have a bathroom.
and you're and you and you're doing it exactly the right way. You've already built a fan base. You've built a tribe, people who trust you, that want your stuff, and you're just saying, okay, now it's time. Come over here. This is where I'll be every day, or at least most of the time. And
everyone has an opportunity to be part of that.
Yeah, and hence, we were talking earlier about a crowdsourcing campaign. Michael, you can ask whatever questions you like about this. I have a feeling we can go in a few directions here, so just let me know what you'd like me to talk about as far as any of this.
Well, I wanted to ask a few other questions about. We can get back to the storefront, and because at the end, I really would people to know more about that and what you need, and for those that watch this within a reasonable amount of time. Because some people will watch this 5 years from now, and you'll have like 60 stores, and they'll go, "What are you talking about? The guy's got a whole bunch of stores."
I need to jar us out. I don't know.
That's where it started.
But back to the inspirational side. Who inspires you? What sort of people, or maybe there are particular individuals that inspire you. Who are they?
Part of the thing I love about this job, actually one of the biggest things I love about this job, is I stand on a street corner, and I see life probably closer than anyone does in this city, aside from someone living on the street, and it has really opened my eyes as far as, I think I've grown more political in this job, and I feel so connected to just life, and I have met so many different people that have inspired me, from somebody needing something to somebody offering me advice to somebody just stopping by and enjoying a random conversation. One of the things I love about this job is it's so social media based as far as marketing and advertising and following, but I probably have had the opportunity to meet almost all those people, and I love taking someone that I've seen on an avatar. It happened today, and looking at them and going, "Where do I know you from?" And they're like, "I'm so and so on Twitter," and then we're buddies, and I met a Boy Scout leader today, who is rallying his troops to go to Oklahoma. We just had this horrible tragedy there, and he and I connected, and next thing I know, we're making something happen in Oklahoma. So life inspires me, and the fact that I'm allowed to live and not be constricted to an office or doing the same thing every day. Even though I'm serving hot dogs every day, I serve different people every day. So the life in each one of those people, I hope this doesn't sound cheesy, but they really do inspire me, and I may go home tomorrow with a totally different mindset than I've had today, and I think that's a blessing.
John, you've been patient there, and maybe you've been thinking of some things to ask, and I'd like to give you an opportunity, if you have a question or two, to throw them out there now.
Oh, just 1 second. I've got crazy family stuff going on.
We'll keep him on mute, Michael. Just
crazy family stuff.
Yeah,
Man, you have any other excuses, or just that one?
Oh, only you can hold yourself back, John.
I have no excuses. I will ask the questions. Pardon the noise in the background.
That's cool.
No worries.
So,
Mommy,
exactly.
Show Mommy the video.
I'll show her in a minute. Okay.
Man, this is real.
Give me a second. Okay.
This is real. I love it.
Well, through this conversation, some of the things that popped into my mind were, I remember when Michael would shoot photography as an art form, and I'm not saying it wasn't an art form when you turned it into a business, but I remember you worrying that if you started to do that to make a living, as a way to make a living, that you wouldn't have the same passion for it as you did when you would just go out in the mountains and shoot wildlife, and you did turn that into a business, and the business was very successful. you traveled to Europe shooting weddings and just all over the East Coast and just everywhere. But then you kind of walked away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when we had the conversation, I said, you want to help open a hotel again, when Michael was calling us.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that was the first transition away from photography? And
I think that your statement in the beginning absolutely happened. I just had this conversation with a friend of mine who I wish I invited him to this, but he couldn't make it. He's an entrepreneur. He's got a business, and his business is his passion in life. He's a DJ, and it's such a hands-on, sort of all heart-in career. That's also an art form. You know, it's one of those things that not everyone can do. But he's tired, you know, and when I was doing photography for a living, I lost the passion in it because I was taking something I really enjoyed that allowed me to escape, and I was forcing myself to do it all the time for money. And I used to say, I remember having a conversation with John about it. I wish I could do it for nothing, is what I used to always say. I wish I didn't need to get paid, because I felt like at that point it would release some of this pressure of, this is what I need to do for a living. Well, I did get burned out, and as of lately, I really haven't done much with it. And I do have people asking me a lot, and I will do, you know, for friends and family and stuff. But I felt like I did get burned out on it. You know, I can still be creative in what I'm doing now, but hot dogs wasn't my passion. Hot dogs was what's allowing me to channel my passions now, and it feels a little bit more natural to me, a little bit nicer.
Now, you do use the photography with the hot dogs.
I do.
You take some incredible pictures of these hot dogs.
Yeah, as served, you know.
Yeah,
it's not a fast food chain. These are actual hot dogs people have eaten.
You know, another thing that you were talking about is people, how they can take these things from you and apply them to their own life. But you are such a dynamic person with the social media. I remember you were blogging before anybody was blogging. Mm-hmm. And you used that with the photography. Mm-hmm. And now, like you were saying, you get to blend all your talents and passions into a hot dog.
I know, and it's crazy.
It's crazy. But
it feels good.
Wonderful. And it's the things that you do with charity work, from raising money for you know, children that have cancer to you know, people hungry on the street, is just amazing to me. So you've really you've taken all of your art forms and turned it into something that can actually feed people and help people. And
I've got a big bucket of all the things I've done in life, and I'm not that old yet. I want to keep on going, but like I was saying earlier, I feel like this job has allowed me, I've found an outlet for all this job ADD I've had my whole life, you know, where, oh, I'm bored now, let me move on. Oh, I'm bored now, let me move on. I got to try something else. I did that essentially going into this, but I feel like it has formed itself into completing me as far as my needs and what I need to do for a living to feel like I'm contributing to the world. And it's crazy that it's a hot dog, but it's absolutely doing it for me.
Michael, did you ever, was there ever a point where you thought about quitting? And if there was, what kept you from quitting?
I did. I was married, and the person, my wife I was with, had been with me from the very beginning of this venture, and of course, when you start a business, it takes time and takes pressure and takes more than you have in you to get it going. And for anyone who thinks starting anything is easy, there's no such thing. So it took a lot out of me, and I had to really dive in deep. And we didn't have children, and I thought, you know, what a great opportunity to do this. It started to impact our relationship, not because of what I was doing, but because of what our relationship was formed on. It took me a while to realize that. But when I was married and my marriage was failing, I thought that if I stopped doing this, it would fix that. And no disrespect if she ever sees this, but I'm glad I didn't stop, because life now is so fulfilling. Life's so fulfilling, and as sad as it is to lose a person you cared so much about, I don't think this was the reason. So I'm glad, I saw past that and didn't walk away from it. I have a feeling that I may have come back to it, eventually, but that was the one point I wanted to stop. I was worn out, emotionally, but I did channel the things that brought me joy in this to get me through it, and I will say that there's people out there now that think I'm still married. I never let that out, despite as personally involved as I am in this business and being so transparent. There are some things that I've managed to keep quiet, which I don't know how, but I have. And
yeah, I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how, because people know more about me than I know sometimes.
Right. I don't mean because of any other reason than you're so visible to people, and you see all your customers one-on-one.
I do, and I try to connect with them, and sometimes connection means being personal. And as long as I don't feel it's an intrusion, I'll share whatever they want to know.
Now, Michael, I at one point you left Little Rock, moved back to New Jersey.
You're right. That would be another instance.
To help your family, your dad, who has a business. What brought you back to Little Rock?
I almost forgot about that. It's funny how your mind gets so forward. One crazy thing about this job that I don't recommend to anyone, but in pitching my forward idea to people, it's always like, well, hey, you got a business plan? I started this with no business plan. I started this with day by day. I started this with stepping back and watching where it's going and trying to decide what's next versus trying to plan ahead so far that I don't reach a goal and fail and feel miserable. I try to sort of relish, no pun intended. Actually, that works. Relish each step, and catch up later. No, relish each step and say, wow, this is working. Let me build on this versus, well, this isn't what we planned. Let me go back. So I've had that freedom. My father is ill. My father has mental illness, and at one point, I felt so needing to help. Which one thing I've always vowed in any job is family first, and that's why I almost quit when my marriage was failing. And once my dad needed help, I said absolutely. If my father needs me, I am willing to walk away from my business, do what I got to do as a son, and go serve my father. And I did, and I packed up and I closed down here. It was pretty traumatic. It was upsetting. I think the community felt there was a loss, unbelievably enough. I served the last day in business here. I served 300 hot dogs in almost 2 hours.
Wow!
Because people just wanted to get one last piece of this thing, which is pretty tremendous. There's actually a picture on my website of a line that just blows me away every time I look at it, that many people would want what I have. But anyway, moved to New Jersey, no questions asked. Kind of, dragging my feet a little, going, man. And I've talked to Michael and you about this before I did it. I knew I had to do it, but I didn't want to. I'm a man of faith, and I spent a lot of time praying about it, and a lot of time asking my friends about it. And the only answer I could have was go. And I went, and I laid it on the line. And wouldn't you know it, within 3 months, I realized that all my dad needed was someone next to him to help him learn about himself. And once I did that and shared my experiences with some doctors, we figured out what he needed. And through some medication, he got back on track. We started arguing just like we did when he was normal. And I was like, my dad is back. I love it. And I was thankful that I was arguing with him, because before then it was, no decisions, kind of cloudy. So the blessing and all that was, I think I'm good and I'm feeling okay. And If you've got something to do, I realize you've walked away from something huge. And if you've got something you still need to do in Little Rock, Arkansas, you'd make me real proud if you did it. So
now when you came back,
mm-hmm.
the idea of a storefront
Mm-hmm.
developed. Is that right?
The idea
because when you left, it was
expansion.
just the cart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, expansion.
The idea of expansion. I had someone that pitched an idea to me that helped me come back quicker. As far as quicker into the business. When I got back, when I was on my way back, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. He pitched me an idea that I liked, and we were moving forward on that idea until something in my heart said, this isn't how you would do it, Mike. And not that you're trying to be controlling, but your heart is telling you you really wanted to do this, and why are you allowing yourself to do that? So I had a conversation with that person and said, this isn't what I was thinking. And he said, well, yeah, but, this could make us more money. And I said, it's not about the money. And that's when it clicked. And I really think that something we do in business is we focus on money so much that it holds us back. And when I said it's not about the money, boom, doorways started opening, and people started saying, hey, have you ever thought about this and that and this? And I started to get the idea that people were sick of looking for me. Even though it's fun, they're like, gosh, I can never find you, and I've been looking for you for 3 years, and how do you even figure out where you're going, and what's going on?
Where's Waldo?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm kind of tired of that too. So maybe I can fix this. And I've seen it happen in other places where somebody takes a small idea like a food cart or a there's hot dog restaurants or spots, they call them, in the Northeast that started as a little shack and grew to a storefront, and then added a patio, and then added a parking lot, and then they've been in business 60 years. So I really like the idea that I'm kind of at that point where I think I can start something for someone else to take over someday, or the community to enjoy for years. And, if I break my leg, no one's getting hot dogs tomorrow. But if I have a storefront, I can hobble mo in there and let some people help me do what we do and serve more folks and do more. Charity definitely involved, community definitely involved. And I've asked people if they want me to do this, and they've overwhelmingly responded yes. So I've got them behind me. It's pretty incredible. Like Michael said, not too many people get the opportunity to do it like this. They're like practically carrying me to the front door and dropping me off there.
Yeah. It's interesting the way you. Thanks, John. You've done a nice job of leading through some really interesting points. The thing about the not for money is really, it comes up so often when you hear the people who have the most successful, quote unquote, successful businesses, and often who have created the most wealth, like Zappos and Apple and all these companies. It's a very common theme that they were not focused on financial results. They were focused on whatever came from in here, to connect with someone, and the financial part was just the result of that. And I think an important lesson that I've learned over time is that you shouldn't go about doing anything on a transactional basis. In other words, I give you something and you give me something in return.
Yep.
I get paid for it. I give you 3 hours of work, you give me whatever we've agreed to as our hourly rate. I think, and this goes right down into the employee-employer relationship. If you're an employee and all you're worried about is what you're getting paid to do, then you're always going to work just hard enough to not get fired. The beautiful part about being an entrepreneur, the person who owns it, you naturally, almost always, you can tell when it doesn't happen, but certainly the successful entrepreneurs, you can tell that they are not in business for a transaction. They are in business to give themselves and to give gifts to people. And whether it be products or services, but usually it's the emotional exchange that happens. So this art of gift giving is the key part I think, of any purpose-driven thing, and you never worry about how much you're getting in return. And I have a feeling that you've conquered that. And as long as you can keep going with that, it'll work. I think it'll work beautifully. And
Since
you know,
day one, I've done this full time for 3 years. It'll be 3 years June 1st officially. I've only done this to pay my bills. I haven't relied on anything else. So it's worked. Even when I was asking you to go get me some Sprite.
right.
You know, of course, I don't have a mansion. You can pretty much see the size of my condo behind me. It's 400 square feet. I live very simply, and I enjoy pouring myself out in other ways.
Yeah, exactly. You're not a person that lives for material things.
No, I finally got a mattress. I'm happy about that.
Right, right. So, but these are important concepts that carry over to anyone, and that's why it's so important. And sometimes you just don't realize it until you actually do something like this. And it's why probably everyone should go through the exercise of creating something, starting something. Even if you have a full-time career job, start something else. Not as a conflict to what you're doing. I don't want to get anybody in trouble or fired, but start a blog, write a book,
start running,
take up knitting. Whatever it is, but do it with some purpose, right? And find yourself some passion that you can then. I see waving going on.
Yeah, have a seat or
So I think what you're able to lead us and show us and inspire us. Most of us wouldn't dare walk out on the very narrow and perhaps sometimes very thin plank that you have walked out on.
Yeah,
but thank goodness there are people like you that do, and people like John, that decide to do crazy stuff like run 100 miles, because that's what gets the rest of us. That's what gives the rest of us pause to go, well, that's a person just like me. I can do that. I had a conversation just like the one we're having now, just a few hours ago with someone, a young person who is a little conflicted in their life, trying to figure out, well, what do I do? Do I go to college? I really want to go do this, and I said you need to start doing it. You need to you have to start walking in a direction. Now the key is to get the direction kind of somewhat lined out. You don't want to go completely haphazard. It's going to be really challenging to do that.
And hopefully in a positive direction. You don't want to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course. That goes without saying.
I don't recommend joining cults if they feel that's your direction.
Right. But so I find what your example is just so rich and so perfect, and not just to take up and be an entrepreneur, and whether it's start a hot dog cart or a photography business or whatever, but just for a person that said, I'm going to go do it because it's right in here, and that's really something I feel strongly about, and I want to connect with people over this. That's pretty key. That's what life is for.
It feels like I could do this and be content. And I've never had this feeling. I've always given myself 3, 4, 5 years in something and went, it's all right, But this feels like I said earlier, I feel fortunate that I have found something that takes my bucket of things that I know make me who I am, and allows me to use it. And as crazy as that sounds, a hot dog does it. Whether it be, like John said, take the pictures of the food, present the food in a certain way, use my sense of humor that I enjoy sort of using with people, the interaction, the serving of others, the helpfulness, the being able to say, hey, you know what? Somebody, being on the street, people walk up to you constantly, and how do you handle the panhandlers? Man, I give them a hot dog. Whatever. It's not up to me to decide anymore, and I like that.
Can I ask you? This is another question that kind of stems from another conversation I had with someone else who's who's also struggling with what to do next, and they're thinking about a franchise and starting a business. And I think they're thinking about choosing franchises that they don't necessarily have any expertise or passions in. And so my question to you is, how important was it to have domain knowledge, if you will, about the craft of hot dogs and a passion for that particular product and medium? Because I think sometimes people get into things that they think will make them money, or how important was it? Because I remember you earlier, you were talking about how you were inspired in your childhood by hot dog vendors and whatnot. But so how important was it that you had that and didn't just pick, well, hot dog seems like a good idea, I'm going to try that one?
If you're right, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. If you just want to make money and you want to work hard and you really don't want to put your heart into it, now you can be a good leader or a franchise owner, or I know a few guys that run some fast food chains who seem like really great guys to work for, but I think you have to have passion in it. Or I'm not saying your life passion. I mean, for instance, if you got paid to ride your bicycle for the rest of your life, you might get burned out. And if, John, you got paid to run for the rest of your life, you may get burned out.
I wouldn't get paid very much, I don't think.
Well, eventually. Just follow John on your bike and you'll be fine. That's enough mileage. But anyway, I think that you have to have a personal connection to it to keep you interested. And then from there, pouring your heart into the things that make you complete as a person surrounding that idea are important. I was never money driven. My family, I'm a product of a divorce, and I, not my own, but my family as well growing up. And I still to this day, through all the therapy and everything you go through, you have a problem with the fact that your family disbanded over money. So there's a deep passion in me now to make sure that I don't focus on money, and it's helped. And so I've never been one to focus on money. In fact, anytime I'm offered a job, I make sure I think I would like the job first. I make sure I think I would like the person I'm working for first. I make sure I'd actually want to go to work first. I've never done anything just for money. It bores me to death. So for me, I couldn't do that. If they're that type of person, I think there's almost a personality test for that. If you're a creator, that job wouldn't be good for you. But if you're a producer, that job might be good for you.
Well, would it be safe to say that if you didn't have expertise and or passion for something that you're getting involved in,
check your pulse.
It's a greater risk of failure.
Yes. Because how do you know you're going to like it?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I'm driven by delivering unexpected results generally, and I happen to do it primarily in hotel work, but I've done it in other things. But if I got into the scrap iron business, and the only reason I mentioned that is because I drove by a whole bunch of them today, because there's an area of town that has
good money in it.
And I bet there is, because I know some people who own those things, and they're wealthy, but I don't think I could be the best and deliver the same unexpected results in that, because I don't have any passion for scrap iron.
I think anyone that comes up to someone like yourself and asks you a question like that, there's passion in there, or they wouldn't be asking. But there is also a place in this world for the factory worker that can just do a job and be happy. So it depends on the person. But I would say for someone that's going to ask you that question, what do you think I should do? I know you're creative. I know you've gone off and done things, sort of out of the ordinary. They need to ask themselves, I think, the question that you asked me. I think that would be a great bit of advice for somebody is, do you think you can find something in that line of work that will motivate you? And if they say, yeah, I'm going to make a ton of money, well, then great. That's what motivates you. But I think it's in each of us when we set out for success, whatever that is, to go inside and say, what do I need to get out of this? And, you know, for some people, it's just making a paycheck or just feeding my family. I understand that. I've had the freedom of searching for something that completes me, and I'm glad I found it.
Yeah, you certainly have, and I think it has to do with most. Thankfully, most people do want to leave a legacy of some kind, and so they're disappointed when they don't ever find a way to do that. And fortunately, people like you find a path to do that, and that makes the rest of us very happy. And so we're excited about it. Any parting thoughts? Any words of wisdom? Specific things to do or not to do? If you were going to give some advice to anyone, what would you tell them?
I think I'm being asked to speak a lot about social media these days. It's such a thing that everyone needs to know, and everyone wants to be involved in. And there's a lot of people out there that don't understand it, and come to guys like me who have figured out a way to utilize it for what we do and have it work well. I've gone out and done some speaking engagements, and I still try to tell people to never forget to connect. Never forget to see someone's face once in a while. Never forget to try to find a genuine relationship in whatever it is with at least one person a day. I mean, just you never know who you're standing next to. So I do my best to do my business on social media, understand that it's a tool that I use that works very well for my business, and I'm glad I have it. But my number one goal every day is to get out there and shake hands and say hi and get to know people. And I got to tell you, I've got some pretty cool phone numbers in my phone because I put myself out there. And if you don't put yourself out there, you'll never find it. So I tell people to get offline. Ironically enough, we're online. But when this is over, go out to the supermarket, go out to the park bench, go out with your family on a walk, go bike riding, go somewhere where you can meet somebody, because you never know what you're going to be able to learn from that person. And that's what I really love about my job is that those people out there that have so much to offer that most of the people I talk to aren't online, because they're the ones that want to stand around and talk. So get out there still and connect with those people around you. It's so important.
That's really good advice. Coming from an innkeeper, that is essentially what we live by. I don't think there's any, even with the invention of Google Glasses, there's going to be no
How about
substitute.
Google Friend? Hey, look, here's somebody next to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know about all that.
Google hologram.
There's no substitute for really just making the real connection.
No. And we need each other.
That's the trust. The trust that you need trust, and the only way to establish that really is a personal relationship. John, any last questions or thoughts from you?
I wish I ate hot dogs. I'm a vegetarian.
I got veggie dogs for days. Come on, brother.
I would love to eat a veggie dog with fake chili.
Well, if you're going to go vegetarian, I say go vegetarian. So I do have a goal this year, and that's to create a vegetable that tastes good. It's a vegetable that's currently in use and listed as a vegetable. I don't have to invent one. Put it on a bun and eat it. So I'm starting with carrots. I think I'm onto something.
Carrots with coleslaw.
We don't need fake hot dogs.
chili.
We just need deliciously flavored carrots.
It is funny when we make our grocery list, I say, pick up some fake hot dogs, pick up some fake sandwich meat.
It
fake
makes you feel
cheese.
better. I get it.
Yeah,
Everybody loves hot dogs, right? That's what
that's right.
started on. Well, anyway, this has been fun. Thank you.
It's time for the shameless plug portion of the show.
Oh, nice.
So how do people find you, Mike?
The best way is hotdogmike.com. I've got some things going on that are not allowing me to camp out on Facebook and Twitter anymore, so as much. I don't use it like a walkie-talkie.
That darn social media.
I know,
business.
and the phone in the hand is hard when you're making hot dogs. So just hit me online. It's very easy to remember, hotdogmike.com, Mike at hotdogmike.com. I've always got something going on, and I'm usually asking people to help with something, whether it be fundraising or helping me directly with the desk I need. I'm finding that it's interesting. What's interesting is you can create community by just going out there and asking people, and it spawns things. So hit me up online, follow along, read along. You can Google me and learn a little bit more about some of the things we've been talking about today.
And today's the 23rd of May, and for the next 7 days, if you really want to, if you want to help Mike, go to
2013, by the way.
Go to a website called GoFundMe. I have to be careful how I say that. GoFundMe.com.
If you go to my website, there's a link.
Explicit show.
Yeah, just go to my website. There's a link and a story, and that's the easiest way to find find anything. But yes, I have gone to crowdsourcing because I feel like the community is telling me they want this by lifting me up, and like I said earlier, delivering me at the doorstep. So I think I'm almost there, man. After this weekend, it's going to be keys in my hand, and I couldn't be more exciting to get out there and meet more people and feed more people. So
we're happy that you've come back and made a home in Little Rock. It's a benefit to all of us.
I'm going to stick around for a while.
I don't know about you, John. I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to have to wait for him to, set up shop in North Carolina with a franchise or something.
Or I'll just run there.
Come on, John.
Well, yeah. Why don't you do that? Can you be here by like Monday?
It would probably take me a few weeks to get there.
Well, I'll look forward to it.
Okay. Well, I'll meet you halfway on the bicycle. How's that?
Sounds good.
And I'll feed you both. That's it.
Oh.
I'll fly there and feed you both. Hey, thanks for your time.
All right. Thanks. To you, and have a good evening. Thanks for staying up late, John.
Good
I know
to see you both.
getting late
Safe
back
travels.
there. All right. Till next time.